You're watching CCN, Clarksville Community Network.
Produced by Goodwin Productions. Powered by CDE Light Band.
Okay, good morning. Welcome. What a great venue we have for this breakfast this morning, and what an outstanding crowd. I think it's a record crowd for this event, 500 people. So appreciate all of you coming. I'm going to introduce the two mayors first, and then I think we're going to watch a little video. But Mayor Jim Durrett is the mayor of Montgomery County and was elected in August of 2014. Jim was born and raised in Montgomery County, where he lives today with his wife Mary, a small business owner. Jim and Mary have 3 children, Jimmy, Thomas, and Paulina. They are the proud grandparents of Thomas, Reese, and Walker Durrett. Jim grew up in a family of public servants. His father, Bobby Durrett, served on the Clarksville City Council for 26 years. And his mother, Robin Durrett, worked the polls at every election he can remember. Jim and Mary are members of the Life Point Church. Mayor Durrett went to work for the city of Clarksville at a young age, shoveling asphalt during the summers while attending Clarksville High School. After graduation, he attended the University of Tennessee and Austin Peay State University before returning to work full-time for the city of Clarksville. He served the citizens of Clarksville, Montgomery County for 20 years as Director of Streets and ended a 31-year career in local government as Chief of Staff of the City of Clarksville. He most recently served as Vice President of Business Development for a local bank. Jim has a long history of community involvement, having served as past president of the Downtown Kiwanis, past president of Leadership Clarksville, past chairman, board of trustees of the Custom House Museum, past president of Tennessee Public Works Association, was named Public Works Person of the Year for State of Tennessee, and past chair of the Military Affairs Committee, Clarksville Chamber of Commerce. Mayor Joe Pitts is a native of Clarksville and a product of the Clarksville-Montgomery County school system. He graduated from Northwest High School in 1976 and from Austin Peay State University in 1980. Joe and his wife Cynthia, an ordained minister, have 5 children, are grandparents of 12. Wow. They are members of Faith Outreach Church in Clarksville. He believes his life calling is to be of service to others. His hobbies include reading, gardening, and watching old movies with his wife. Joe lives his life according to the scripture found in Luke 12:48. For unto whomsoever much is given, of him shall much be required. Joe recently completed his 6th 2-year term serving the people of District 67 in the Tennessee House of Representatives. While in the House, he served on the House Education, Instruction, and Programs Committee and Subcommittee, the 3 Branches Institute for the Department of Children's Services, and was a member of the Tennessee General Assembly Veterans Caucus. Prior to his 2019 election as Clarksville mayor, Joe was vice president of Planners Bank in Clarksville for more than 13 years. Joe's passion for service focuses on public education and serving veterans and their families. He devotes his community service to education-related organizations, including Clarksville Montgomery County Education Foundation, Austin Peay State University Foundation, College of Education STEM Center Advisory Board, School of Nursing Advisory Board, a member of the Executive Committee of the Clarksville branch of the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People. Joe has completed postgraduate work at the Institute for Organizational Management at the University of Georgia and the Emerging Political Leaders Program at the University of Virginia. I think at this time we're going to watch this video.
Life has always been good in Clarksville, Montgomery County. But nowadays, we're all about being better and being better together. 2019 was a year of unprecedented firsts for Clarksville and Montgomery County. County Mayor Jim Durrett and Clarksville Mayor Joe Pitts established a fresh, collaborative approach to leading our community. It's clear they both believe in and act on a policy of better together. The mayors and their chiefs of staff had bi-weekly meetings throughout 2019 to examine areas of opportunity for working together to benefit all residents. Both mayors have frequent, regular meetings with President White of Austin Peay State University, Millard House, director of the Clarksville-Montgomery County School System, and Shanna Jackson, president of Nashville State Community College. Together, our community, business leaders, county and city, university, college and school system have shared the excitement of the official openings of Google and LG, two of the world's largest and most successful companies. We welcomed new businesses, celebrated the growth of existing businesses, experienced the transformation of a nearly abandoned shopping center in Sango, enjoyed unprecedented growth in home sales, and a rising median household income. In fact, 3 high-profile corporations, Hankook, LG, and Google, have collectively invested $1.65 billion in our community in the last 4 years. As co-chairs, our mayors brought Aspire campaign fundraising to new heights, with a $4.1 million commitment from the community, and other highlights abound. 2019 was the first time the city and county presented their legislative agendas to the state delegation together. The mayors hosted a reception at the Customs House Museum to welcome incoming APSU faculty to our community. We celebrated Tennessee's first rotor wing program by APSU at Clarksville Regional Airport, a facility supported by the city and county. We began a new venture together, as both the city and county made a commitment to work on an AARP livable community plan. We shared the excitement of APSU topping 11,000 in student enrollment, and cheered as the APSU football team won its first OVC championship in more than 40 years and first FCS playoff game. We have sustained our crucial relationship with Fort Campbell and the men and women of the U.S. Army who call our community home. We welcomed Major General Brian E. Winsky, the new commanding general of the 101st Airborne Division. We have continued our support of the 160th Special Operations Regiment, 5th Special Forces Group, and their new commanders. This past year, city and county residents both reaped the benefits of improving broadband technology. CDE Lightband was named one of the fastest internet providers in Tennessee and one of the top 10 fastest internet providers nationwide. CEMC, which serves the county outside the city limits, announced it will soon deliver its new Cumberland Connect high-speed internet service. The wheels of economic transformation continue to turn downtown. In 2019, county government approved the construction of a multi-purpose event center, and private owners of the Riverview Inn announced a $50 million renovation and commercial development, adding to a continued revitalization of our downtown. From good to better to best, Clarksville, Montgomery County continues to grow and prosper, with thousands of new residents joining our community each year. They are attracted by the favorable cost of living, great schools and colleges, and the wide range of recreational and entertainment opportunities. Additionally, the city and county are both actively engaged in expanding outdoor recreation facilities. From better to best, in 2019, Clarksville, Montgomery County vaulted into the national spotlight as Money.com designated our community as the best place to live in America. Clarksville, Montgomery County had an awesome year in 2019, perhaps its best year ever. With leadership that is committed to being better together, we look forward to being the best place in America to live, work, and raise our families for many years to come.
That video really says a lot about what's been going on in Clarksville, Montgomery County in the most recent past. And 27 years of being a resident of Clarksville, I can't think of a more exciting time to be in Clarksville, Montgomery County. With that said, I'll invite the mayors up to speak. I think Mayor Durrett's going first.
Good morning. How's everybody? First of all, we got to get this bio straight. I have 4 grandkids. Abel James Wilson is the 4th one. He's 3 months old. So Pauline and I took care of that, so don't worry about that. So first of all, several people I want to recognize, but I want to thank some people first. And first of all, I want to thank God Almighty. Without Him, nothing is possible, and I wouldn't be standing here today. Secondly, my wife. Love you. Blow me a kiss back. Thank you. Mary's been so good to me, and I'm so blessed to have her as a soulmate. I want to thank Keith, you, and Melinda, and the Chamber for putting on this awesome event. I think this is my 4th one or 5th one. I can't remember. I'm not going to do a whole lot more of them. I can tell you that, though. Also want to recognize our county commissioners. I know we have several, 14 or 15 here. Commissioners, if you would, please stand up so you can be recognized. Thanks to each of you for your service. And we have several elected officials here, I know, and these lights are really hard to see, so I can't call your name out, but I know we have several elected officials. Judges here, if you would, please stand. I know Representative Hodges, State Senator Powers are both here. I'm not sure if Representative Reedy or Johnson are here, but if you would both please stand to be recognized. Thank you. Also, I think we have several county department heads here, or county employees. So if you're a department head or a county employee, please stand. I'm almost through with my thanks, I promise. You know, we're blessed to have 2 really, really great educational partners. One of them, the fastest growing university in the state of Tennessee, led by awesome, I always call her my favorite president, President Elisa White. President White, please stand up. Thank you. And our other educational partner is our school system, led by a guy that I really respect a lot. And I'll be honest with you, everywhere we go across the state of Tennessee, we hear nothing but rave reviews about our school system and what we're doing. So Millard House, Mr. Millard House, if you would, I know you're out there somewhere. Thank you. So just 2 more groups. I definitely need to thank Shelley Baggett, Melissa Smith, Emily Matthews, Michelle Newell, and Kyle Johnson. They're the staff in the mayor's office, and they are truly the foundation of our office. So I know that Michelle's not here and Emily's not here, but Shelley, Melissa, Kyle, y'all need to stand up. I know you don't want to, and Shelley, we won't take your picture, I promise you. And lastly, if all our veterans in the room would please stand up. Thank you. You know, events like these, it's so awesome to see such a great crowd, but it's really, I don't really like them, to be honest. They put a lot of pressure on you, and so you sit down, you put all your notes together, and you get all this stuff done, and you think you've got it nailed, and you walk in, a guy like Sammy Stewart says, hey, whatever you do, don't forget to mention the airport. So Sammy, there's the airport for you. But I appreciate you bringing it to my attention as well. Really, I just want to say it's truly an honor and a privilege to serve Montgomery County for another year. As we look back on 2019, I think it's important for each of you to know that I'm not much of a rear view mirror guy. I kind of look in the big picture, the big windshield. And so I'm going to talk a little bit about 2019. It's kind of hard for me to do that because I like to look forward. But I'm going to tell you a few things about 2019 that we think are special. Obviously, the Multipurpose Event Center was huge. I want to thank all our commissioners that voted for that. I think 17 commissioners voted for the construction of it. I think that speaks volumes of what this community wants. So we're really, really proud of that accomplishment. But you know, we did a lot of other things that don't get the press coverage that we typically deserve, or that typically deserve the press coverage, and I think they're important to mention. For the first time ever, Montgomery County did an external pay plan, and we did an extensive research on every job in Montgomery County, and that study revealed that we needed about $4 million to bring our county employees in line with the current market. And so our commission stepped up and did that. The funny thing about that, or not the funny thing, but the sad part about that is about 51% of that $4 million went towards public safety. Our public safety people were grossly underpaid. We, at the time of our budget last year, we had 18 vacancies in our EMS, in our ambulance service. Since I've been mayor, we have constantly had a vacancy in our ambulance service, and we needed to address that, and we stepped up and addressed it. We were constantly losing employees to other jurisdictions. The sheriff's office, from January to June of 2019, lost 13 employees to private companies in Nashville. They were grossly underpaid. And alone, in last year, between EMS and the sheriff's office, we lost over $2 million by hiring people and training them, and then they going off to work at another jurisdiction. And we had to fix that. And so that pay plan was huge for us. We also were understaffed really bad at our sheriff's department. We're still there today, but I think we really took a big chunk out of the need. We added 22 positions to the sheriff's office. Our patrol division was staffed at just 55% of the national average, and our jail was staffed at 80%. So those are really sad numbers that we needed to work on, and we worked on them last year, and we're going to have to work on them this coming year, and hopefully we'll get that problem resolved. We had a lot of other highlights. Probably at the top of the list was this guy to my right. Joe Pitts is a good man. You're a good man. Love you. But truly, the collaboration and cooperation between the city and the county, I think, is at a level it's never been. And Joe is such a great guy to work with. But you know, we did some other things too. We made history last year when we signed the first ever interlocal government service agreement with Fort Campbell through our Animal Care and Control Department. That was really huge. It shows our commitment to Fort Campbell, our community's commitment to Fort Campbell, to work with them each and every day, not just to go to the welcome home ceremonies, not to do those, but that's bringing a tremendous savings. It's actually going to make Montgomery County money, and it's going to save the Army, the U.S. Army, over a 4-year period, about $900,000. So it's pretty huge for us. Obviously, Austin P., what a historical year with the football team. Wow, how exciting. Basketball team's on a little roll right now. And another person mentioned something to me as I walked in, so I had to scribble this down as well, but it's very worth mentioning. Malcolm Perry, a graduate of our school system, led Navy to a victory in the Liberty Bowl. And his name, because of his performance in the Liberty Bowl, Clarksville, Tennessee was mentioned hundreds of times during that whole game. So he brought a lot of national exposure to us. That was brought to me by my good friend Jack Turner, by the way. But you know, there were really 2 events that I think I'll remember for the rest of my life. One was the ribbon cutting at the Buddy Ball Field at Civitan Park. And without the Rotary Club, that would not have happened. So I think they donated, I think it was around $625,000 to complete that field. But we have a state-of-the-art ADA compliant playground and a Buddy Ball field where our disabled boys and girls and adults can go and play and have something as nice as anybody else has, and that was huge. And the other big thing that happened to me, and it just happened recently, but was little Gavin Summers. I get emotional about this. To see that kid get his hands, wow. To see that kid pick up a water bottle for the first time ever in his life. That was pretty special. So Mayor Pitts, I said that working with you is probably the top, but I'm sorry those two got outvoted you pretty bad. We also celebrated several milestones. 125 years of service at our library, 75 years of service to our military veterans at our Veteran Services Organization, 75 years of soil conservation or soil erosion control and water quality through our Soil Conservation Office. And the Downtown Commons, now going into year 3, had twice as many concerts in 2019. And I think it's so awesome, all the cool things that are happening downtown. But it's really not just downtown. People criticize me a lot about saying all you focus on is downtown. There's stuff going on all over Montgomery County, and each and every one of us ought to be proud of that fact. So 2020, a lot of good things going to happen in 2020. Our much anticipated opening of the Wade Bourne Nature Center at Rotary Park. This is going to be a state-of-the-art facility thanks to a partnership with CDE. We've got whatever that service is of internet that's so high speed that's going there. So all our interactive videos will be just high speed stuff. We're opening the Fredonia School Community Center, a state-of-the-art public safety training facility, one that will be as good as any in the state. We're looking at funding for a new library, a new animal control facility, and the official opening of Weekly Park, formerly known as Eastland Green Golf Course. And of course, we're going to be breaking ground on the Multi-Purpose Event Center. This year is also a census year, and I want to encourage each of you to participate in that. It means volumes to Montgomery County and to Clarksville. So I encourage each of you to get involved in the census process. Talk to your friends about it, your family about it, your coworkers and your neighbors, and I promise you Montgomery County will see the benefits out of it. 2020 also brings the anticipation of funding a new middle school and a high school, along with necessary transportation improvements for that site. I promise you we're not going to build another Rossview High School or a Rossview complex. We're going to address the transportation as well. And we're truly blessed with our school system, but we need more classrooms and we need them fast. I think it's been 10 years since we built a middle school. We're trying to work on that as fast as we can. And so we're going to continue to work on that. As I mentioned earlier, we have a shortage of employees in our sheriff's department. We've got to address the workload in our EMS. The tempo that they're working right now is unsustainable. And Mayor Pitts and I know he's probably going to talk about this more than I will, but we've got to look at our overall transportation infrastructure. We've got to address that some kind of way. And so we've been collaborating on some potential ideas. But there's no denying that there's still not a lot of work to be done. But we have so much momentum going, and it's just truly exciting to see all the awesome things that are going on in Montgomery County. And I promise you, I'm not going to sit on my hands because it's not about the moment, it's about the movement. So thanks to each of you for being part of this movement, and let's keep it going. Thank you, and God bless you all.
Good morning, everybody. And I want to welcome you to this beautiful Wilma Rudolph Event Center in our Liberty Park. What a magnificent opportunity it is to share the success our community has had over the past year. I want to say thank you to the Clarksville Area Chamber of Commerce for hosting this annual event. This has become a great tradition, not only to begin the new year, but to talk about what's ahead of us and to come together for that. Following Mayor Durrett's lead, I want to recognize a few people as I begin. The First Lady of our city, my wife Cynthia, is here. You know, whatever success I've had in life is due in large measure to her. She represents our city so well, and I just want to say publicly thank you for your service and for what you're doing in our community every day. I also want to recognize son Jacob. Jacob, where are you? I know you're in the crowd. There you are. Thank you, Jacob, for being here. City Council members, please stand. I want to recognize you. I know Mayor Durrett bragged on the county commission, but there is not a better group of public servants out there than the Clarksville City Council, and I want to publicly say thank you to each one of you for your leadership. Over the past year, you've worked together in concert. We've moved some things forward, but we've got a lot of work to do in 2020, and I'm excited about what's ahead of us. City department leaders and city employees, if you're in the room, please stand and remain standing. Ladies and gentlemen, these are the people that make your city #1 in the nation. These are the people, yes, that make our city what it is. So I wanted to publicly point them out and just say thank you for the work you're doing every day. It's extraordinary to watch you work, to watch you show up every day and just answer the call. So thank you very much for what you do. I think that was for you, James. There's one department head I want to recognize. He's not here today, I don't think, and that's Clarksville Police Department Chief Al Ainsley, who's announced his retirement after 33 outstanding years representing law enforcement in our community. Chief Ainsley has set a very high standard. It will be very difficult to replace him. In fact, we will not be able to replace him, but we will find another department head, another police chief that will continue the good work that Al Ainsley has done. So I wanted to publicly say thank you to Chief Ainsley. Among the group of department heads, we've got 3 new department heads this year. Clarksville Fire Rescue Chief Freddie Montgomery, who is in the crowd. Chief Montgomery, please stand. Clarksville Gas and Water General Manager Mark Riggins. Mark, you're in the crowd. I've seen you. Mark, thank you. And the guy that keeps the buses running on time, Paul Nelson of Clarksville Transit System. Paul, are you in the crowd? If not, let's also recognize him. And a special shout out to Chief of Staff James Halford. It was his idea to have the video as a retrospective of what we did last year together. So James, thank you for your outstanding service. To my friend, Montgomery County Mayor Jim Durrett, and to First Lady Mary. Cynthia and I have grown to love, respect, and admire you over the past year, even more than we did before. So they give this community so much, and we are blessed as a community to have a Montgomery County Mayor and First Lady who not only work seamlessly together to advance our community, but they have great integrity and character. And so I want you to join me in saying thank you to this powerful couple who help us every day.
Thank you. Love you, man.
It's already been said, but to our friends at Fort Campbell and the United States Armed Forces, we thank you for your service every day. And right now, they're on foreign soil protecting our freedom, so they deserve a round of applause as well. It's already been mentioned, but it bears mentioning again. We have the best university in the state. We have the best university in this nation and in the world, Austin Peay State University, and the best president of any university anywhere, Dr. Elisa White and her team are leading this university and responding to the needs of our community. So Dr. White, and to your team, thank you for what you do every day for our community. As Mayor Durrett mentioned, when you arrive at these events, you get people who say, well, can you mention this or that? And the time, a competing time for our attention is certainly there, but I would be remiss if I didn't highlight an event coming up this Monday, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Observance Day. Dr. Anderson Grant said, please remind everybody at 6 p.m. at Walnut Grove Missionary Baptist Church on Lafayette Road, there is the Unity service at 6 p.m. So please, if you're available, attend that and turn out. We'd love to have a good crowd and actually show the world what unity looks like. As you saw in the video, 2019 was a big year for us. And with the help of our city department leaders and my colleagues at leading other institutions of government and other institutions across our city, I was grateful to have a mostly successful first year on the job as the mayor of your city. I learned a lot. and I think we set the stage for more progress to come in this community. So let me share with you just a few details of what we have coming up. You know, it's no secret that Clarksville's thoroughfares are crowded, and it continues to be the most pressing issue that we're working on every day. I'm working with our city street department. David Shepard and Scott Bibb are over here, and Jeff Bryant's in the crowd as well, and working with our finance department, our regional planners, the Department of Transportation at the state level. And we are developing a Transportation 2020 plan, a major plan to tackle the city's most pressing roadway issues and transportation projects. Traffic 2020, as we call, will show the major TDOT projects that are on the drawing board, as well as those that are underway. We will also show how city projects will harmonize with those projects. It will include new thoroughfares. We will prioritize sidewalks around our schools. We will also prioritize sidewalks in those heavily traveled pedestrian areas. We'll also have pedestrian crossing walks and signals. I'll get it right in a minute, Mayor Durrett. So that it's not enough to get you up the sidewalk, but we got to get you safely across the street. And then we will harmonize Clarksville Transit System buses to integrate seamlessly and to integrate safely in our community. Traffic 2020 will also outline the costs and the funding plan to pay for what we believe are major, long overdue road improvements. And I'm going to pause right here and say, it's going to be painful, but we will have a funding plan to pay for it. So let me just kind of prepare you for that. But we are committed to addressing the number one issue in the number one community in this country, and that is traffic. I'll work hard to get citizen engagement and community buy-in to this comprehensive plan, which is strategically designed to solve our most pressing transportation challenges. The plan will include many key transportation projects: improvement to Whitfield Road and Needmore Road around Glen Ellen Elementary School. If you've been out there at any point in your life, you'll notice that it's a parking lot sometimes, but we are committed, and design and right-of-way acquisition is underway, and we hope to fund that next fiscal year and get that taken care of. Right-of-way acquisition and planning is also underway for the Northeast Connector, that thoroughfare that will connect Crozier Boulevard to Wilma Rudolph Boulevard over to Trenton Road. We are blessed that we've already had part of the right-of-way donated, and we are looking forward to seeing that project underway next fiscal year as well. We are making progress on Rossview Road. That one has had one too many birthdays, and we will start construction this spring on that project that will relieve congestion around that school complex. Sidewalks in North Clarksville will connect to the major TDOT sidewalk project that will take us up and down Fort Campbell Boulevard. And again, priority given to those sidewalks needed around our schools. Let me start here and say that our Parks and Recreation Department needs your assistance as well. We've got some public hearings coming up about what you would like to see in our Parks and Recreation system. But we are also not sitting on our laurels and not sitting on our hands, and we are developing plans and designing the Rossview Athletic Complex there at Exit 8. We're going to move forward with phase one of that complex over that 300 acres that we acquired a couple of years ago. Phase one, which is currently under design, will include multi-purpose athletic fields, soccer and other things. Our vision is to have synthetic grass fields for year-round play for the children and the adults in our community. An inclusive, handicapped accessible playground is also planned for that complex, and there's some private money that's being invested in that playground, and we are excited about adding that to our inventory of parks and recreation facilities. Work also continues on Clarksville's quest to complete a 10-mile walking and biking trail around our city, linking our riverfront to the far reaches of our community. And we are excited that TDOT invested $1.82 million in a grant for a pedestrian bridge that will be a vital link for that Red River Trail East Phase 2. That's a lot. The bridge is the final phase of the Red River Trail, which is part of the 1999 Greenways Master Plan. And for those who don't believe in planning, that's a true testament that this indeed is a dream come true. The trail will also connect Austin P there around Craft Street so that Austin Peay students and faculty and those who access our campus will be able to get on the Greenway and walk completely around our community. We're going to remain focused on the city's public safety needs. There's no doubt that as our city grows, and we're expecting, 90,000, Mayor, 90,000 more residents in the next 20 years, we're going to need more law enforcement. We're going to need more public safety personnel. And so we're adding a new police precinct around the Exit 8 area for our police department. It'll be District 3 Police Precinct, and that design is already underway, and we look forward to the construction beginning on that next fiscal year, beginning this fall. We're also shifting some existing resources to take care of a long overdue maintenance facility for our Clarksville Fire Rescue, and Chief Montgomery is taking the lead on that as well. We share Mayor Durrett's and the community's excitement about the Multi-Purpose Event Center. What a great, great facility that's going to be. And to Mayor Durrett and to the Montgomery County Commission, thank you. Thank you for your outstanding leadership in providing that for our community. We look forward to seeing some of the buildings come down and a new building coming up in the very soon. Conversations are at a full boil with the Roxy Regional Theater to provide for a new theater, a new facility for the Roxy Regional Theater, and a performing arts center so that our dancers, our children who dance, our adults who dance, and other performing arts will have a state-of-the-art facility to use to do their arts. We anticipate putting a project design and funding plan in place this year using tax increment financing and other revenue sources. And just let me say right here that I'm committed to preserving the Roxy not only as an institution, but as a building. And we'll continue to work on key facets of the overall downtown revitalization, including more parking facilities. We need more of those. I've also asked the Clarksville Transit System to facilitate a new location for the downtown transit center. We've identified a site, and we'll begin the arduous process of working with the federal government to get that relocated. Doesn't mean we're going to move this year, but in the years to come. We're also committed to growing Clarksville Transit out into our suburbs because we have people that need a way to work and need a way to church, and so we're committed to making sure that they get there. Other projects that are on our agenda for the coming year include the Vulcan Corporation property. If you've driven by there lately, it's a pretty spectacular site. Didn't realize it was that big, but now that the building is down, we can see possibilities there. The city will participate as asked and as we need to in improving the infrastructure there, sidewalks, streetlights, landscaping, other things, only if the redevelopment proposal by the new owners meets the criteria that we want the highest and best use for that highly visible gateway, not only to downtown, but Austin Peay State University. The Frosty Morin property, long been a blight in that legacy neighborhood of Red River and Brandon Hills, and it's a safety and financial liability. We, the City Council, has appropriated funds to demolish a lot of that building. We've identified through a structural analysis that there's about 52,000 square feet of a solid core building there that has potential for redevelopment. And so we look forward to seeing that happen this year. Mayor Durrett mentioned Census 2020. Everybody in this room within the sphere of your influence needs to make sure everybody in Montgomery County is counted in the Census 2020, which is going to kick off in April of this year. Jeff Tyndall, Regional Planning Commission. Jeff, where are you? I want to say publicly thank you to you and your team for the Census, Clarksville Montgomery County Count Census Committee and the work they're doing. You'll be hearing more from them, and when they call or when they email or when they show up at your door, please let them in and talk to them about what you can do in your company, in your business, in your church, in your social circle to make sure everybody is counted in Clarksville Montgomery County. CDE Light Band continues to be an industry leader in this state and region, and we are all proud of what they do as far as providing effective and efficient electricity and broadband services to our city. We are live on CDE Light Band Channel 6 right now. Hi, Mom. And we are excited about the new production agreement they have with Rick Goodwin and his folks who are back there at the table feverishly working to make sure that we are in a city that's telling the good story. And so thank you to them for what they're doing. Those are just a few of the things that are on our agenda for this year, but I wanted to say thank you. Thank you for engaging your community. Thank you for being here this morning and for providing what we believe is the best is yet to come. So with that, I'm going to wrap up. We'll look forward to your questions, we hope. And I want to thank each of you for joining us on what is sure to be an exciting, exciting year with your help. God bless you.
Well, thank you, Mayor Durrett, Mayor Pitts. We appreciate everything that y'all are doing for this community. And it's time now for the two mayors to entertain some questions. If anyone has a question, if you'd hold up your card, we can pick those up. Surely we have some questions, don't we?
Good night.
Slide this over. Okay.
I guess y'all are doing such a good job. Nobody has anything to ask?
All right, thank you for breakfast.
Shirley, hello? Hello?
There you
Surely
go.
somebody has a question. Somebody I forgot to mention, so I'm going to give y'all a second to think about a question. Miss Terry. Yeah, Mr. Jimmy, I promise you he's here today. I love that man. I sure miss him. I know you do. Thank you for coming.
He would be very happy to see what you do and help you coordinate and collaborate together for this great city.
Thank you, ma'am. Questions?
Norm.
Hold your hand up, sir. Okay. I may need some help getting back up here.
Pretty simple question. What about broom ball? Are you playing?
You breathing? Yeah, this Wednesday night, thank you, Norm, this Wednesday night at the Downtown Commons actually at 5 o'clock, there's a broom ball game between the police department and the fire department. I think it's called Guns and Hoses is what they're calling it. And then at 6 o'clock, we'll be playing Fort Campbell in broom ball, so it's a highly anticipated event. It'd be great if we had this many people that come out and watch that. Commons is a great facility. I think our community's really, really embraced it. So, yeah, Norm, I'm playing.
I'm not.
This one's for you, Mayor Pitt.
Uh-oh.
Don't ask me to read it. Good luck.
Mayor Pitts, can you provide an update on North Clarksville Community Center?
I can. We, through our Parks and Recreation Committee, Standing Committee of the City Council, they've developed a matrix to identify potential sites. I think we've identified possibly 3 sites that will fit the criteria, and I'm not going to bore you with what those criteria are, and frankly, I don't remember all of them, and I'm sure I'd leave one out. We have money in the budget to acquire the property for that North Clarksville Community Center, or Recreation Center, we should call it, and then we will begin the planning on construction of that shortly after that.
Okay, next question. This is for Mayor Pitts as well. Will there be a master plan for the redevelopment of the Vulcan site, perhaps include a magnet school for the arts?
Well, when you talk school system, I'll need to get Mr. House up here. But I can tell you that Mayor Durrett and I have talked a lot about the Vulcan site and what the city and the county can do to incent development and the right kind of development on that site. It'll really be up to the private property owner, whoever acquires the site, to determine what goes on the site. So whether they get a magnet school or not, I can't say. I don't know if Mayor Durrett's got anything more you want to add to that?
This is just a statement. A statement to thank the continued support of the creation and support of the Clarksville Suicide Prevention Alliance, formerly the Mayor's Suicide Challenge. Thank you. In the 2020 plan, will ramps be built around the city to help decrease traffic?
Ramps around the city. We already have the 101st Parkway, Highway 374, that's supposed to be a loop around the city, and TDOT continues to work on that. If you've driven out this way, you know that A, you better not exceed the speed limit, and B, the construction is a challenge. So we're working very closely with our legislative delegation to represent Hodges, Johnson, Reedy, and Senator Powers. We'll continue to push on them to get that completed. But the Traffic 2020 plan will have connections to our major thoroughfares, something we've been needing for a long time, and then we'll continue to work with TDOT to try to get Warfield Boulevard, Rossview Road completed, and other important roads that are state roads, but roads that move traffic.
Okay. Next, both talked about improving road networks. When will bypass 374 be completed?
That question is so easy, I'm going to let Mayor Durrett answer it.
Thanks, Mayor. Well, that project from Dover Road out to 149, it was part of the Improve Act. And I don't know if you keep up with the local news, but back during the budget process, TDOT was talking to Governor Lee, and when they instituted the gasoline tax increase, they didn't put an index in it. And so the cost of materials and stuff are going up. And so these projects that the state talked about that would come to fruition in about 10 years, it's going to take longer than that. And I think the only way to address that is for the local governments to put some skin in the game. And so that's something Mayor Pitts and I have been talking about. And I think to accelerate some of these state projects, that's probably what it's going to take. And so I think you'll hear more about that in the near future. But that particular project, you're not going to see anything happen on it for several years. I hate to say that, but that's the truth.
Okay. What has been done to catch the public safety sector up with other surrounding cities?
Well, I think I addressed that, but I'll just touch on it again. We did a comprehensive pay plan, and we saw that our public safety employees were underpaid. We addressed that to the tune of about $2.2 million that was out of the $4 million that was dedicated to public safety. And we're hiring new public safety people, especially in our sheriff's department. But we've got to also look at EMS as well. I talked about that as well, about the tempo that those men and women are working. We've got to come up with some kind of innovative way to take some of the burden off of those folks.
I can tell you from the city side, thanks to Will Wyatt, our HR director who's here, we have instituted a new updated pay study for our public safety employees, police and fire, because we know we're a little behind and we want to make sure that we keep those folks well compensated. We did increase last budget year the starting pay for the police cadets to bring them more in line, and we look forward to adjusting that pay once that pay study is complete. We added 7 new police officers in the current fiscal year to meet the growing demand, and as the city grows, we'll continue to add more police officers. And then I'm confident that Fire Rescue Chief Freddie Montgomery is going to come this budget year asking for additional resources, and we're ready to support that in every single way we can.
Okay. This question here, pavement of parking areas at the many shopping areas. What can be done about this? Also areas like Lowe's Drive.
Well, if you read the Leaf Chronicle on Sunday, you know that there was a constituent that took me to task about Lowe's Drive. Let me just say, it's a private road. The city has been working on that developer. If you all know the developer, I can't remember the name, it's not nobody here or in the city, but that's a private road. All we can do is issue them a citation to city court and try to get them to fix that road. There's some parking lots around our community that are privately owned. So as you shop in those stores or visit those businesses, let them know that they need to fix their parking lot. And that's a barrier to you coming back. And that's not the only way, the leverage we have.
Okay, Mayor Durrett, are we looking to put a library in North Clarksville?
Yes, we are. We've already purchased some property at the corner of 374 and Jordan Road. We're actually in design right now, and so I assume that the library board will be at our budget table this year to ask for funding for construction. And so, yes, we are planning on one.
Okay, with the development of the multi-purpose event center, is there any plans to recruit a minor league hockey team?
Yeah, I think that's got to be part of the equation. We actually have a conference call, I think it's next week or week after that, with the commissioner of the ECHL. That's like a AA, I think a AA affiliate associated with the NHL. Obviously, our managing partner, Powers Management, who is in fact the Nashville Predators, they're going to be involved in those conversations. Everything we've heard is that when you start a facility like this, you're going to get a lot of people calling you about some type of hockey league or hockey team, and you really just need to be really careful and do your due diligence on it. So, but I'm looking forward to that call in the next week or so, and maybe something will come out of it. But yes, that is, hopefully we can make that happen.
Thank you. What's happening with the mayor's business luncheon?
That is a city initiative. Councilman Bondale Richmond, who is over here, we had a kickoff last year talking about how can the city nurture and help grow the small business community. Councilman Richmond, I can tell you, is working hard on a couple of initiatives that you'll be hearing more about in the coming days to help bring some structure to what we want to do as a city. We can't do it all. We're working in concert with the other groups out there like the Chamber of Commerce to help grow our small business community and then really nurture the entrepreneurs. I know the EDC's been really engaged in that, and Jeff Truitt. So you'll be hearing more about that soon. Councilman Richmond and I had a meeting last week.
Okay, thank you. This is the county or city, Mayor. What is your 2025 through 2030 vision? Types of business, standards of living, veteran support. Where can we do better?
Go ahead, Mayor Durrett.
That's okay. You raised your mic first.
Okay. Well, my vision is that you will not spend more than 5 or 10 minutes on Fort Campbell Boulevard or Wilma Rudolph Boulevard and going from one end to the other. And that all parts of our city are accessible via bus transportation or mass transit. I envision that our city and the county will work even more closely together on veterans issues. We're working on, thank you to Dr. Andrew Kester of our Veterans Service Organization, on some policies that will help our city and county employees who are veterans who need to be able to get access to VA services working there. I envision that this community will be alive with parks and recreation facilities throughout our city, not just in one location, so that everybody, regardless of your age or ability, will have access to a facility that you can enjoy the outdoors that we sometimes take for granted.
Well, I think just to follow up to that, what Mayor Pitts said is I think we got to work on all of it. You know, when you talk about jobs and you talk about industry, we didn't recognize the IDB team, and I know Frank Tate's here, but they're just doing a great job, that entire team down there, EDC, IDB, the Chamber, and the CVB. But I think we got to look for some more white-collar stuff. I don't think it's news to anybody that we're working on a conference center through the IDB. That's something that I think our community has really lacked for a long time, and bringing in a really true branded name that will operate the hotel and the convention center. And there's a lot of progress that's going on that right now, and hopefully in the coming days we'll see some type of announcement about that. There's still a lot of people looking at Clarksville, Montgomery County And we've got some that have headquarters associated with them. So I think those are the type things we need to do. We need to get a couple of headquarters and stuff in here. Obviously, we've talked a lot about the transportation infrastructure and what we've got to do to address that. And I forgot what the other one was, Keith. Jobs and
Veteran support.
I just think we got to continue to do what we're doing as far as our veteran support goes, and I think we've made leaps and bounds progress in that area. We've got so many great just organizations that our Veterans Coalition, Sherry Pickering, they just do a great job, and there's so many organizations that are affiliated with that. Operation Stand Down. I know Eric Horton's here. With the Campbell Strong deal, we've created the Campbell Strong Defense Alliance that's not only working on protecting the asset that we have at Fort Campbell, but also working to do things for our veterans and through Workforce Essentials. Marla Rye and her great team, we secured about a $7.5 million grant that really is focused on veterans and their spouses of finding them jobs here in our community. So I think we're doing some really good things from the veteran standpoint, but I think there's more we need to do.
Let me add a coda to that. With as much success and as well as our community is doing, we still have a lot of people out there who need help. So let me invite you to be a part of the United Way effort, put a plug in for the United Way and what they're doing. The two first ladies of our city and county are leading the campaign this year, so it's critical that we invest in the United Way so that we can meet the needs. We still have too many people homeless, we've got too many people hungry, too many children not getting adequate care, child care they need, too many citizens having to decide between medicine and food, all those stories you've heard, but there's no better way than the United Way. So please encourage those who are around you to invest in the United Way.
Very good. I think that's all of our questions. I want to thank Mayor Pitts and Mayor Durrett for taking time out of their busy schedules to spend the morning with us. Good information we got. And I would like to thank all of our sponsors and thank all of you for attending, and have a good day.
Good job, Keith. Well done, Keith.
Thank y'all.
Good job.
Thank you, man.
For current and exclusive content, subscribe to CDE Lightband, connecting you at the speed of light.